Hi, welcome to this week's fiction writing tip. I'm Kirsten, and today we're going to talk about cliffhangers. What are they, and is there a place for them in stories? A cliffhanger is exactly what it sounds like. Imagine a guy climbing up a mountain with no protective gear. He loses his footing and ends up falling off a cliff, but at the last moment he manages to grab onto something to keep himself from falling. But he's hanging off a cliff holding onto a rock or a branch by the ends of his fingers. He is literally a cliffhanger, and that's where we leave him at the end of the story. We finish the book not knowing whether a rescuer comes along at the last second and pulls him to safety, or whether he holds on desperately for a while before the rock becomes dislodged or the tree breaks and our climber plunges to his death. Cliffhanger endings have been used in a multitude of movies, TV shows, and books, mostly for the same purpose, to get the audience to come back for the next installment. In the TV show Friends, we ended a season with Ross saying the wrong name at his wedding.
Hi, Ross. Take thee, Emily. Take thee, Rachel.
We didn't even get to see the rest of the ceremony, and we had to wait until the next season to find out if Ross and Emily actually got married. In literature, one of the first writers to use cliffhangers was probably Charles Dickens. His story, The Old Curiosity Shop, was released in installments. One installment ended with one of the characters very sick, and readers had to wait until the following week to find out whether she would survive. The real question is, are cliffhangers the right way to end a story, or do they just frustrate the audience and make them not want to bother finding out what happens next? The answer is that it depends. There are few things worse in literature than a poorly executed cliffhanger, and it has to start with the question we ask about anything when it comes to fiction writing. Does the story actually need it? If you are putting in a cliffhanger just for the sake of it, you'll probably turn off your readers. The key thing to know is that when your story ends, your story must actually end. The main conflict that you presented in your story has to be resolved. The hero and the villain must have their showdown. The guy and the girl must either get together or go their own separate ways. The athlete must either win the medal or not. The cliffhanger cannot center around the main conflict in the story. You need to set up something new that either creates a sense of ambiguity or leaves a character in a difficult situation. And there should be hints of that setup happening throughout the story. Don't just dump a whole new conflict on your audience in the last chapter. That will frustrate them. Your cliffhanger must be relevant to other things that have happened in the story. The idea is not to create an entire new major conflict. It is to create a sense of what happens next, while leaving the reader satisfied that they got a complete story. That's it for today. I'll see you over the weekend when I will be revealing the contents of the new Scribbler box.